of all, I'm sure you have done this, so let me just do that quickly. So I will need to create a new project, Java projects. So it's week number 10, CSE114, week number 10, lab exercise 1. So in this exercise here, we will need two classes. So one will be students, the other one will be course. Let's do course first, maybe. Okay, let's create a new class called course. Okay, we have a course class, and then let's see the description there. Each course is characterized by its title, number of credits, and the list of registered students. Okay, these three. So here you can say things like, so first of all, we got a title, let's say string title. And also you have number of credits, integer should be reasonable, and you can say credits, that'll be fine. And also you got the list of registering students. You can say, so apparently you gotta have students over there, students array, okay? So every time when you talk about some nouns over here, if the noun has somehow been translated into a class, then you can have an array of that class, okay? That's the pattern we have been following. Okay, so we can say registering students, okay? And of course, it wouldn't compile because we haven't got a student class yet. Let's do it now. So you can say new, and then class. Let's say go for students. Okay, just create a class, so now you compile. Let's just go back to course and do the constructor. Let's say initially, when we create a new course, we want to initialize its title and the number of credits. But for the registering students, initially, let's say no one has registered for the course, so it should be empty, okay? So you might also want to declare some, like a counter to see how many students that have been registered so far, like what we did before. You can say number of students, okay, that's what you can do. And then we can say course, and then we can initialize its title. Let's say string title here, and also we have integer credits. Now let's have a look. If I say this and then I say title equals title, and then credits equals credits, somehow it compiles. However, as we said in the class, this is problematic. Again, why? It compiles, it's fine, but it's problematic. When I say title is assigned to title, credits is assigned to credits. How come you wouldn't do what I'm
not assigned to
mean to do?
attribute credits.
Yeah, right? Because somehow you can also see the highlighting. So somehow you can see all the attributes are highlighted blue over here, but you can see the title here does not really refer to the title in the attributes. Somehow if you put your mouse over, you'll see title refers to this input parameter here. And on the right hand side, you also have the title that refers to the title as the input parameter. So you're really assigning the input parameter to itself. You're not really trying to assign to the attributes. That's why it's not good. How do we fix this?
Put this
This in where?
before title. This dot title equals title.
On the left hand side or on the right hand side?
Left hand side.
Very good. Very good. So that's exactly what you have to do. So you say this dot title and this dot credits. Okay, it's as easy as that. After this, let's say we also want to initialize the registering students. Let's say it should be initialized to be some array. And you should be very familiar with the syntax already. So you should say registering students is equal to new array of students, and let's say 30. Okay.
You have to put this for this, right?
You don't have to, although you can. You don't have to. You only put it this when it can help you disambiguate. If it doesn't really need to be disambiguate, then yeah, you don't have to. Yeah, you can do that. You can certainly do that. That's absolutely fine. Okay, so now let's do the student class. If you go to students, let's read the problem statement there. So each student has a unique integer student ID. So somehow integer student ID, okay, And first name, last name, very good. So string first name or F name, doesn't matter. String last name. And also a fellow student mentor. So you can see the English phrase a little bit tricky here. So when I say a fellow student's mentor,
Student mentor.
yeah, it's like a mentor who's a fellow student, which means a mentor who's also a student. So that's why in this case I saw some of you actually simply just put string mentor and also string
Just put student
mentee. Yeah, so that's something I want to say. So if you put string mentor and string mentee, the problem is that means these attributes here only refer to a string. It doesn't refer to any student objects. So in this case, what we really want to do is to say mentor and mentee, they also refer to other students. It's like a spouse of a person is also a person, not just a string, right? So that's something to be careful about. So we say students. Also, we have students. Okay. So also we got list of registered courses, and then we can say course. Okay. Course array. Register courses. So let's see what we do in the constructor. So we say students. The same name as the class. Let's say we would like to. Let's say we do our old way of doing it. Let's say follow the old way of doing it. Okay. So somehow you gotta give the integer ID. Let's say, okay, we're gonna change this in a moment, and then we're gonna have string first name, string last name. Let's say when you first register in student career, you wouldn't know who your mentor or mentee are. So that's why we don't have to initialize them in the constructor level. We can set them up later. Okay, so now how do we update these attributes? You would say this dot id equals id. You would say this dot first name is equal to first name. You would say this dot last name is equal to last name. Okay, let's see what else. Yeah, exactly. So again, similar. So now we gotta initialize the register courses. Okay, I put this attribute just because I want to make sure you know how to do the syntax. New course, let's say 30 again. Okay, very important syntax to remember. So I'm pretty sure you have to write that for the final. So you better.
Huh? You need a counter.
Yes, you need a counter as well. Yes.
Static.
Not a static yet, but I do want to do some test cases first before I move on to static. Okay. So let's do also you want the number of courses to actually help you keep track of. Integer number of courses here. Let's say initially you simply got number of courses equals 0, although you don't have to because default value will be 0 anyway. So now can we do the following? Can we do, say, how do you define the method called register course? Okay, if you say register course, what you gotta do is to say course C. And we have done this quite a few times already from the previous lab exercises. So what you gotta do is to use the number of courses counter here, and then you gotta say the register courses, and then use the counter there, number of courses that is assigned to C. Right? That's what we did before. And also you gotta increment the counter. Number of courses plus plus. Okay. So now, let's also do the, how do we, okay, let's, I think this would be good for now. Okay, good for now. Okay, let's not go any further. I do want to illustrate the points right now. Okay, that's good for now. So let's do some tests. How do we do the test? Let's create a tester class. Let's go to new and then new class. So let's say students tester. And then we're gonna have the main method there. So you can type main and let Eclipse complete that for you. So now we can say what about, we'd say, first of all, let's create a course. Course CSE114 is equal to, even before I do that, sorry, even before I do that, let's say just create 2 students now. So when you say students, let's say Jim is equal to new students, and for the ID, so we gotta give some ID in this case, but we're gonna change that later. So let's say 1. Okay, gotta be something that has been used before. And first name would be Jim, last name, let's say Davis. Okay, let's just create another student. Okay, let's say another student. Let's say students Jeremy. So go to new students, and Jeremy in this case must have a different student ID because have to be unique. Let's say 2. So somehow you can see I have to manually manage this ID, which is not so good. I will change that. So let's say Jeremy, first name Gibbons, for example. Okay, so 2 student objects now. What I would like to do is to print out their ID, okay, after the initialization. So if I say system.out.println, and then I say Jim.id, I would like to know what it is. In this case, it should be quite obvious. It would just be 1. And also, what would be the student ID for Jeremy? And what I want to know, most importantly, would be if their ID happen to be different, okay? Because different students must have different student ID. So what I would like to do is to say system.out.println. Jim.id is not equal to Jeremy.id. And remember, ID is integer. That's why you can use the not equal to compare. Okay, just don't forget exclamation mark equal means not equal to. So what would you expect the output to be? We got 3 lines of outputs. We got 3 lines over there.
100, like 1, 2, 2.
1, 2, and true, right? Let's try. So if we run, you got 1, 2, and true. Exactly. So that means you got 1 has been set up to Jim's ID, and 2 has been set to Jeremy's ID. And then also, of course, 1 and 2, they're different. That's why you have true. Okay. As I said in today's lecture, we don't find managing the student IDs manually very convenient. But sometimes you might actually set the IDs to be the wrong ones, such that actually overlap with the previous ones. So we would like to somehow let the class itself, the student class itself, to manage the ID automatically for you. But how do we do that? Okay. Huh? How do we do that?
Use a counter.
Use a counter. Yes. And somehow this counter has to be shared by all the objects of the same class. So you gotta. So first of all, we would like to remove this. We don't want that anymore. When we create a new object, we don't want to pass the IDs manually. So if you remove them and go back to the student class, what you want to do is to have some counter there, and this is where to use static. So you will say static counter. So like that. Int, integer counter there, and now. So here you're going to remove the input parameter ID from the constructor here because we don't want to use that. Okay, if you get rid of that, so now how do you assign the ID to be something? You're gonna assign that to the counter value here. Okay, and then you're gonna say after that counter plus plus. Okay, that's actually basically exactly what we saw today in the lecture. Okay, please go over that and then try this out. Okay, so let's run the tester again and see what happens. So this time we actually got also different IDs, but we got 0 and 1 rather than 1 and 2. Why is that the case? Any idea? We got 0 and 1 rather than 1 and 2. You don't actually have an initial value for that because initial value for integer, default value for integer will be 0. Okay, to fix this, for static variable only, you can say the initial value of that should be 1. That's the place to put. Okay, that's the place. If you do that, now you'll get 1, 2, and true. As easy as that. Okay. However, let me show you, you cannot do it here. Let's say if you try to do that counter equals 1, that's not good.
Because it reset every time.
Exactly, you will set it to 1 every time when you're trying to call the constructor. Okay, that's something to note. So I'm not going to show you. So just to tell you that's not good. Okay, so equals 1. Okay, that's about the student ID. So now let's go to the mentor and mentee method. Okay, so that's very similar to the Mary method that we did in the class. Let's say we are going to have a class called assign mentor. Let me just put it, maybe the last method here. So as a mutator, so we say void assign mentor. And very good, like a register course to the course C. Yeah, so students, and then let's say other, what can be S. Okay, so now, first of all, help me out. So I want to distinguish between two cases. Let's say case 1. If either the current students already has a mentor, or other students already has a mentee, either of these two cases happen, that means I cannot assign the current student to be the mentor. Okay. So I want to specify to say between the error cases and success cases. Okay. So let me write out English for you. You say error if the current students already has a mentor, or so let's say error if other students already has a mentee. If no error, assign current students to be others mentee. And also second action will be assign other to current students mentor. Okay, so there are two cases here. So there might be two possible ways for you to get to an error. Oh, should I scroll that up? There are two ways you can get an error. Either because the current student already has a mentor, or other student already has a mentee. Okay, mentor and mentee, you can see slightly more complicated than spouse. We got two attributes here to consider. So when I say it might be an error if this happens or that happens, that sounds like a possible place, appropriate place to use the logical operator, right? Should I use ampersand,
No.
or vertical bar?
Vertical bar.
Yeah, that's for logical disjunction, right? So you gotta really know what to do. So here I can say if it is the case that
This dot
so when I say current student, that means this. So this dot
mentor.
the mentor, you already have a mentor. That means your mentor is not null.
Does not equal to null.
Not equal to null. Okay.
Or
Or you can say
other than mentee.
other mentee not equal to null.
Yeah.
Okay, that's approach 1. I'll show you the other approach in a moment. Okay, and in this case we say system.out.println, and then you can say error. Okay, I'll just say error for now. Otherwise, we're going to assign
This dot mentor equals other, and other dot mentee equals this.
Very good. They are very similar to the Mary method, so I really hope that you get this one. Okay. Okay, so here you would say this dot mentor equals other, okay, other dot mentee equals this.
Okay, it's exactly the same.
Yeah. Any questions? Okay, study this example here and also the Mary example I put on the slides. I think both of them should give you a fairly clear idea about how to use this. Also, try to draw the object diagram yourself to see how this actually links. Let me show you a second version. Okay, so you can see this version here, we put the error condition first in the if statement. What if I want to put the success condition first for the
use
if?
the ampersand.
Huh?
You use the ampersand.
Yeah, rather than vertical bar. Let me show you a second version, okay? So for example, I can put this into comments. So let me do that quickly. So you can go to source, and then you can go to add block comments. Okay, let me show you version 2. So I would say if, so when would be the circumstances where I can add a mentor and mentee? That is when both the current student's mentor is null, and also the other student's mentee is also null. That's the case when they're both free. So that's the case I can do it. So I can say if this dot mentor equals null, okay, and other dot mentee equals null. So you can see I'm trying to say completely the opposite thing as the thing before. Okay, so please compare this condition here and this condition here. These two are somehow very, very similar, very, very related. Okay. Okay, so now we do, if that's the case, we can just do the updates like that. Otherwise, we can do error. So these two versions of code are completely equivalent, okay, completely the same. I'm just trying to show you different ways of doing it. Either you do the successful case first, or you can do the failure case first. Okay, either way. And if you want to know why this is the case, for those of you who are taking 215, okay, this is something called De Morgan. Have you heard about De Morgan?
No.
Any one of you is taking 215? No one? Then don't bother. Okay, that's fine. Just want to show you, both are possible. Okay, that's the case. So that'll be it. Okay, that's about it for this this exercise here. So please study that and make sure you know how to draw the diagram. And then Friday's quiz will be around the disk and static. Okay, it's going to cover today's lab and also for the lecture slides. And please also make sure you try the examples I show on the slide in Eclipse. I think that will also help you. And on Wednesday, for the tutorial session, we may not talk about this. This might be too advanced for those of you who want to seek for help. I might do maybe some simple loops and also do some classes and objects just to make sure you get the basic concepts. That's what I would do on Wednesday. And on Thursday, we'll start with a new exercise. We're going to start a brand new idea, okay? Something called inheritance, okay? Don't panic, we'll get there, okay? So I'll see you on Thursday or Wednesday. Okay, take care.